And that's where it starts. Because if sex is what's holding y'all together, it'll eventually tear y'all apart. And think about that person that you love. That person where your heart and where your soul lies. And if that person keeps on breaking your heart, you need to ask God to break that soul tie. Because having a soul tie is like having gum that sticks to the bottom of your shoe. And not realizing that this gum is slowly becoming a part of you. Only to have it sneak between the crease of your feet soles as it eats the grip beneath it wherever your feet goes. The only difference between gum and a soul tie is nothing. They eat souls. And if you're not careful, it'll eat away at the very threshold that your flesh holds until either one of two things happen. Either your spirit dies or you let go. But it's hard to let go of something you can't touch. More the reason why a soul tie is something you can't trust. Because it latches onto your spirit like Velcro, becomes a natural part of your movement like an elbow, as it laughs at your disobedience like Elmo. And we all know that Elmo's laugh can get annoying. All the more reason why a soul tie is something you should be avoiding. Because a soul tie will make you feel like you can't live without it, when in reality, you can't live with it. And I know this because I almost died inside because I had a soul tied to my spirit. Sexually tied to a woman that I thought I knew I was going to be with forever. And I was right, because even though we separated, our souls were still tied together like double knotted shoelaces of sexual intercourse, because we coursed into sex repeatedly. God gave us both the spirit of discernment, but we chose to act instinctively like animals with no conviction, just intentions of premarital pretension, with sexual engagements, with no engagement, just engaging sexual tension. And as good as sex may feel, sister, going into labor by yourself isn't worth the loneliness. And as good as sex may feel, brother, seeing that first bumpy on your Johnson isn't worth the horniness. But a soul tie will make you feel otherwise, because it's not intended for God's holiness. It'll make you feel like you can't live without that person every time you look into your lover's eyes. It'll make you keep going back to that same ungodly crap every time that they apologize. It'll make you feel like they are the object of your affection. That's another word for idolize. Thou shalt not worship false idols. But a soul tie will convince you to give your body to somebody whom your body is not entitled. A soul tie will convince you to give your body to somebody whom your body is not entitled. And your body is a temple that isn't meant for this sort of cycle, because it's a hard cycle to break. God didn't intend for us to skip the wedding for the reception just to dive in her cakes. But this is the type of impression that a soul tie creates. So if you're going to have a soul tie, if you're going to have a sexual soul tie, at least let God put all the ribbons so the gift of marriage can be glorified, because I know BET tells you to wrap it up. And I'm actually telling you the same thing. But not as a gift for somebody present, but as a present for the day that you exchange rings. So think about that person you had sex with. And that's where it starts. Because if sex is what's holding y'all together, take my word for it, it'll eventually tear y'all apart. And think about that person that you love. That person where your heart and where your soul lies. And if that person is not God, then you need to ask God to break that soul tie.